Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please. Guys, please check your audio and video settings, please. Everyone, please respond in the chat box. Guys, please check your audio and video settings. Yesterday, I was talking about @value annotation. Number one, it is there to inject direct values to bean properties. When bean properties are simple properties. But purpose of @value is to collect the values to inject them to bean properties. Are you getting my point, guys? Come on. Okay, guys. Next one. To inject them to bean properties. In this placeholder. Context colon property placeholder is quite recommended because that will help to recognize the placeholders and property file for both user defined beans and predefined beans. User-defined Java classes acting as Spring Bean with the support of stereotype annotations, and predefined classes acting as Spring Bean with the support of bean tags. Later we discussed about in Spring 3, before Spring 4, the purpose of property sources as the container annotation, and how that is not required from Spring 4 onwards because they have given property source as a repeatable annotation. Okay, from same Spring 4 onwards, there is no need of writing @property source for multiple times to work with two property file. In one annotation itself, you can specify location of multiple properties file. In that process, we noticed @property source is given as what? Repeatable annotation from Spring 4 onwards. So this is what we discussed in yesterday's class, guys. Shall we continue that discussion? Everyone, please active. Yes, now listen, guys. @property source, @property source, and context colon property placeholder. Not only there to read the values from property file and to inject to bean properties, guys. Recollect, other day we discussed in XML, we discussed that point also. It can even gather values from system properties, inject to bean properties. It can even gather values from environment variable, environment variables, and can inject values to bean properties. Remember, same theory. It basically injects them to environment object. From environment object, they will go to bean properties. I hope you remembered that entire theory and diagram also I have given. Just let me just confirm it. Nothing else I just want to do. I just want to confirm that part. Okay. Private string OS operating system was @value dollar. I think what is the system property that holds OS name? OS dot name. Yes, it's a fixed system property. I hope you remembered all this stuff. Yes, guys. This is system property. Injects system property value. Next one, private string path value. Path value. This is my choice property name. Recollect environment variable path value also it can inject or not. Dollar path. I think we have tried mixed case, huh? P small letter something we have written other day. Yes. Yeah, dollar path. Yes, guys. Injects path environment variable value. Concept same, guys. Only syntactical differences will be there in annotation environment. Yes, to check whether they are really injected or not. What should I do? I'll take a next line, boss. Sys, sys trace. One more time shopping method. OS space dot 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 path value. OS space dot 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 path value. Strategy design pattern AC test dot Java. Yeah, now listen. Windows 10 has come. That means OS is coming, right? And path environment variable is coming. Check it out. Whatever value is there in path environment variable, that is happily coming and injected over here are not there. So that means theory remains same, guys. Only implementation part is different, right? Okay. At least you realized that point now. Yes. Okay. Tell me here. Spring annotations, May 14th. Spring annotations, May 14th. Okay. Yeah. Using at the rate value annotation, we can do the following injections. Injections to bean properties. Injections to bean properties. Yeah. Okay. Injecting collecting values from properties file. Properties file and okay, guys, collecting values from properties file and injecting to bean properties. Next, guys, next one, injecting system properties to system property values to what, guys? System property values to bean properties. Yes, guys. How can I show that? Here is my Flipkart.java. Copy this. Say paste. Inject system property value. Yes, here OS dot name is system property or not? Yes, boss. Next one. Injecting what is that? Environment variable value. Values to bean properties. Bean properties. Yes, guys. Here is the another story. This one. value. Right here, what is that? Yeah, you should not write upper lower case. You should write like this mixed case only. Now tell me guys, note all these values, will be collected into IOC container, managed environment object. I think other day I have proved it also. Okay, environment object, and from there they will be injected to, different bean properties based on the placeholders that are used. I think you remembered all this stuff, guys. You remembered all this stuff. If you want, I will give quick. I think remembered. Should I give the diagram again or not required? From properties file, from system properties, from environment variable, everything goes to environment object. From environment object, again they will go to bean properties. Remembered? Okay. System properties means the properties that come system.getProperties method. The properties that come when you call system.getProperties method. Java related system properties, boss. Okay. Java related system properties. Right, guys? Just go for it. Now, what is this? Converting mini project into annotation driven. Rajesh Magar, system properties are really used in our application. We cannot say, boss. We cannot say, right? See, while writing some OS related code, we may need system properties. Okay, that depends. Converting mini project into annotation driven Spring application. Annotation configurations driven Spring application or Spring project. This is now our current requirement. But before that, I just want to give thumb rule to work with. Thumb rule means you have to remember. You have to remember this rule while developing any annotation driven programming. Thumb rule to develop annotation configurations driven Spring project, Spring application or project. You have to remember this thumb rule, guys. If you remember thumb rule, your life becomes easy. Step first one, configure user defined classes. Already you know it, I'm just confirming. Configure user defined classes using stereotype annotations. User defined classes as Spring Beans using stereotype annotation and link them with Spring Bean configuration file. See, when I say annotation driven Spring programming, still XML will be there. But XML utilization will be very less and annotation domination will be more. Only in 100% code driven Spring programming, Spring Boot driven programming, we will try to eliminate XML totally. But in XML driven programming, annotation driven programming, still there will be touch of XML. Got the point or not? Otherwise, we cannot configure predefined classes, right? Okay, link them with the Spring Bean configuration file with the support of context colon component scan tag. That's the first thumb rule. Second thumb rule, configure predefined classes as Spring Beans using bean tags. Are you understanding my point there? Okay, Shankar Dubey is confirming in his current project, whatever he is learning it is helping him. Currently, I am working in one project. We are using those things like executing system command, getting user details. These sessions are very helpful for me, sir. One this, it is your project requirement. Yes. Someone asked, Ma, do you really use system properties in project? Do you really use system properties in project? Okay, Shankar Dubey is confirming. See guys, in his project he is working with what? System command, user details, all these things. Thanks for confirmation, Mr. Dubey. Okay. Yes, boss. Now tell me. Yeah, now we have to come back to our this one. Tell me. To configure DAO class. To configure DAO class. We can use @repository or not. Come on. To configure service class. We can use @service or today no transaction management, but still we can use, not a problem. To configure controller class. Actually, it is not a web controller, but no problem. @controller also contains component, right? Okay. Sonu Gupta, in your Spring Bean class, you are writing some OS information gathering code. That time it is required. Shankar Dubey just confirmed Sonu Gupta. Again, you are coming back to the old scenario. Sonu Gupta, just study the public chat. Okay, guys. To configure @repository, @service, @controller. Next one, to inject. Come on, guys. To inject. Vishak MK, public chat means the chat which I pasted in everyone window. To inject data source to DAO. DAO to okay, guys. DAO to service and service to controller, service to controller. Uh, Service to controller. Use. What is that? At the rate auto void annotation. What annotation, guys? We can go for injection. For this injection, we can use what? At the rate auto void. I'm just preparing my weapons ready to convert my application, boss. Nothing else. Next. Now tell me, guys, to configure driver manager data source class. To configure driver manager data source class as Spring Bean. Should I use annotation or should I use bean tag? Driver manager data source is a predefined class or user defined class, guys? Is it predefined class or user defined class? Predefined class. If you want to configure predefined class as Spring Bean, what should I use? Definitely I have to use bean tag, right? As Spring Bean, use bean tag. Use bean tag. I think all our weapons are ready, guys. What our project contains maximum, boss? What our project contains maximum? Dharmendra Kumar, still I have not introduced at the rate configuration at the rate bean tag. They will come in 100% code driven Spring programming. They will in real time at the rate component is very less used, and at the rate repository service controller are more and morely used, because in real time all projects are layered applications. Dharmendra Kumar, you keep your Spring knowledge aside, hand over your brain to me. Without introducing at the rate configuration, at the rate bean, you are talking about them. I request everyone to keep your half knowledge of Spring aside and hand over your brain to me. You have half knowledge, I teach something, you keep something, and you unnecessarily learning confused Spring. So if you have any small 1%, 2%, or 5% Spring, keep that one aside. That is useless. That is useless knowledge. You don't have any clarity. That's why you are dancing like this. Keep that aside. Hand over your empty brain to me as if you don't know Spring and come to me. Then problems will not be there. Worst fellow. Still, I have not introduced at the rate configuration and at the rate bean, and you are excited about it. Dirty fellow. Okay. Shall we get into Shall we get into conversions, boss? Are we ready? Yes. Okay. Where is our mini project? This is our mini project, right? This is our mini project. Copy, paste. IOC pros. What's the number? 18, huh? 18. IOC pros 18. What is that? NO. Real time DI, real time strategy DP. Super. See, business logic will not change. What changes is configurations. That's it. So we are in the 18th project, guys. Okay. We are in the 18th project, guys. See, guys, VO, DTO, BO. We are not configuring them as Spring Beans. We are manually creating objects as a helper classes. Everyone notice it that. That's why no need of touching. No need of touching. No need of touching. Okay. Everyone can see chat box once, guys. Shankar Dubey has given his clear-cut requirement where he has used system properties injection. Currently, I am working in one CRM project. That is my internal project. They have asked me requirement like registering PC by using MAC address. Then I used user system property topic, and I used it to register company people using Spring application. I'm strongly recommend. Okay, fine. That is a secondary one. I think everyone got the point. How exactly how exactly system properties are required to gather current user of the computer and to register, to gather current OS name and to register. I said, now when you are writing OS related, operating system related task completion in your Spring Bean class, definitely we need to gather and use what? System properties. Fine. Shall we go back to the original discussion, boss? Yes, everyone please come back. BO, DTO, VO. We are taking them as helper classes. We are manually creating objects. We are not involving Spring at all to create objects for those classes, right? So that's why here no annotations touch is required. So where the touch is required, go to DAO first. In this DAO, this is interface. In interface is taken only for loose coupling strategy design pattern. So there also annotation is not required. So where required, in these places required. Customer Oracle DAO IMPL. First of all, let me close all the editors. Let me open one by one. Yes, guys. Now tell me, at the rate repository is better, not component. Fine, component also we can manage, but repository is more better, right? What is this? Cust DAO, cust vara DAO, some name, some bean ID. Okay, guys. Next, at the rate auto wide, super boss. Next, is there any need of this constructor now? Field level injection is over now, boss. Field level injection is over. Is there any need of this one now? No need, boss. Super. Okay. Same thing I have to do for DAO also. MySQL one also. At the rate repository. You'll enjoy like anything. You'll feel very easy also, boss. At the rate repository. Tell me here. Cust MySQL DAO. Cust MySQL DAO. Again, here what is there? At the rate auto wide. At the rate auto wide. Here is my constructor, guys. Come on. Logic will not change, only configurations will change, boss. Super. Now next one is what? Next one is what? Go to service class. Cust service manager. How to configure it as service class, guys? At the rate service. At the rate service. Tell me, guys. Cust service. At the rate service, cust service. As usually, what I'm going to check, at the rate auto wide. At the rate auto wide. Nice, boss. At the rate auto wide. Now listen carefully. But we have two DAOs, boss. Are you listening? We have two DAOs. I customer DAO. To implementing this interface, two DAOs are there. There are not there. So there is a possibility of getting ambiguity problem. To overcome that ambiguity problem, what we should use? Qualifier. Qualifier. Don't worry. As part of improvisation, I will give that one also. Collecting from XML file also I will give. But first of all, let me hard code. So I want to first work with what, guys? Oracle. Cust RDAO. Let me take this bean ID, paste it. Right now I'm hard coding. That means tight coupling I am giving. But as part of improvisation, I'll improvise this mini project by involving properties file and other stuff. At that time, we use alias tag and we get this one dynamically. Recollect, we studied, boss. It's not like that we didn't study. Okay, fine. So service is ready. See, guys, are you concentrating more on logic or only configuration? More on configurations, right? Okay, now come to this place, controller. In controller also same thing we have to do or not? Bean IDs, boss. I'm giving bean IDs. Giving bean IDs is optional. If you feel you are using bean IDs somewhere, you give it. Otherwise, don't give it. They will continue the default bean IDs. Come on. Still, people ask innocent questions. If I don't use bean IDs, what happens? They will continue the default bean IDs. Here is my @controller, guys. Here is my @controller. Bean ID is controller. Come on. Control plus shift plus O. Again, here I want to inject what? @auto wide service. And no need of constructor. Field level injection we are going for. No need of constructor field level injection. Okay, this is stuff. All user defined classes are configured with annotation. Perfect. Now you observe application context.xml, guys. Application context.xml, boss. Now tell me, these two are predefined classes. When it is predefined class, tell me, boss. When it is predefined class, still I have to continue with the bean tags only, na boss. Still I have to continue with the bean tags. What do you say? This is for Oracle. This is for MySQL. I'm just continuing as it is for what? This one only. Okay, boss. Now tell me here. Do I need to configure all these things? DAO, stereotype, service, stereotype annotation, controller, stereotype annotation. Okay, here I can happily write like this or not. Component scanning. Component scanning. There we can write like this. What is that? Context colon. Okay. Context colon means first of all I have to import context namespace. It's the initial days project. There is no context namespace, guys. First, let me import context namespace. Now we got a context namespace. Context colon component scan. Tell me, I need to mention 3 packages or just com.nt is sufficient? Do I need to specify all the 3 packages or com.nt is sufficient? We studied all these things yesterday, boss. When I'm preparing background means somewhere I'm going to use in project. Please. Just parent package is sufficient, right? Just parent package is sufficient. But now one problem is there. What is the problem? Now one technical problem is there. What is the problem? Look at the DAO, guys. Here data source is there. Here also data source is there. But if you look at this data source, okay, there is a two data sources are coming. Driver manager data source pointing to Oracle, driver manager data source pointing to MySQL. Here also there is a possibility of getting ambiguity problem or not. Here also there is a possibility of getting ambiguity problem or not. So what should I do? Go to go to Oracle. They try to inject Oracle data source only. Oracle data source only. @qualifier. What is Oracle data source bean ID, guys? What is Oracle data source bean ID, guys? Vara DMDS. Come on. Vara DMDS. Next, go to MySQL DAO inject only MySQL related data source only. What is that? At the rate qualifier, guys. At the rate qualifier. What is the bean ID, my dear? MySQL DMDS. MySQL DMDS. Say paste, boss. I think uh, I think this ambiguity problem is also resolved or not. This ambiguity problem is also resolved or not. Hari yes. Hari yes. If someone is asking why are you doing this qualifier? Are total how many data sources are there, guys? Driver manager data source, driver manager data source. Two are there. Two are there. Okay. What is the property type, guys? Data source. Now tell me both data sources configurations are eligible to inject to this DS property or not. Then you will get ambiguity problem or not. Mr. Hari, yes, I want reply from you. For you only I am explaining. Okay, there is a possibility of getting ambiguity problem, right? I don't want to have ambiguity problem. Then what should I do? I have to choose one. I have to choose one. Okay, then what I am doing? For Oracle DAO class, Oracle data source I am choosing and injecting by specifying its bean ID. For MySQL DAO, I am choosing what? MySQL data source by specifying its bean ID. Now ambiguity problem is gone or not gone? Super, guys. Okay, now come to client application, boss. Since we are working with annotation in client application, we should use bean factory container, application context container. Bean factory container, application context container. No option of working with the bean factory container. We should think about working with what? Application context container. See, this is scanner part, leave it. This is creating VO class object. Okay, guys. Now tell me, guys. This is VO class object. Here, I should work with bean factory container or application context container. Application context container. Okay, guys. Class path, class path, class path, XML application context. Like this, you can write a shortcut, boss. CTX is equal to new class path XML application context. Yes, here we have to specify location com/nt/cfz/ what is this? Application context.xml file. What .xml file, guys? com/application context.xml file. Cool, boss. Next is what? ctx.getBean, boss. ctx.getBean. Super. And calling the business method, whatever result we got it. Okay, guys. Okay. System.out.println. Here is my catch block. Right, guys? Shall I run the application, my dears? Shall I run the application, everyone? I think we completely converted our application. Yes, I do on improvisations. Don't worry. I definitely do improvisation. Okay, don't worry. But basic conversion is done or not done? Dharmendra Kumar, @service, stereotype annotations are there to configure Java classes as Spring Beans, not interfaces. First of all, tell me all these annotations internally loads the class, creates the object. Dharmendra Kumar, if I apply on interface, how it can create object for interface? Use basic common sense, my dear. Practice, Dharmendra Kumar. If you don't practice, then only this kind of questions will come. Okay, guys. Shall I run the application, boss? Yes. Someone asked me question why we are not adding stereotype annotations, stereotype annotations on interfaces. Please remember, stereotype annotation not only makes Java class as Spring Bean. In that process, they load the class, they create the object, and bean ID becomes object name. Can we create object for interfaces? No. Right click, run as Java application, boss. Customer name. Right now I have highlighted what? Arkil. Okay. Karan. Customer address, Hyderabad. Principal amount, some 40,000. Okay, guys. Right. Enter customer rate of interest. 2. Okay, boss. Time is what? 12 months. Yes. So now it is happily executing and inserting record into Oracle database or not? You want confirmation? I'll confirm yes that it is inserting record into Oracle, boss. SQL developer. Now listen. No, I don't want to work with Oracle. I want to make this application talking to MySQL. Yes, go to service class, guys. In @qualifier, instead of Oracle, we have to write MySQL. But modifying source code is a bad thought or not? Yes, as part of improvisation, I'll show that. Cust MySQL DAO. Cust MySQL DAO. Where is my DAO, guys? Cust MySQL DAO. Did I give same thing here? Cust MySQL DAO. Now run the application, boss. Come here. Customer name, Suresh. Address, Hyderabad. Principal amount, 30,000. Rate of interest, 2. Time, 10 months. See these guys? It will insert the record into MySQL database software. Okay. Let me confirm both. Okay. What is the table, guys? In Oracle, what is the table I have taken? Real-time DI underscore customer. Real-time DI underscore customer. Real-time DI underscore customer. Look at last record, Karan has come or not? 40,000. Today only we have given this figure for 4 lakhs or whatever it is. Yes, it's working. Similarly, you can test in MySQL. It will work in MySQL also. Right. But problem is, this project is good. I'm not saying this project is bad, guys. This project is good. But if I want to move to Oracle to MySQL to Oracle, again, I'm touching the source code or not. In the service class, I'm touching the source code or not. That's the problem number 1. Problem number 2. Problem number 2. I don't want to configure 2 data sources, guys. I want to configure one driver manager data source by gathering these details dynamically from properties file. So then I need to configure driver manager data source only for one time now, boss. Come on, everyone. See, right now I am taking XML file. That's why 2 data sources are configured by hard coding 2 properties. MySQL JDBC properties, Oracle properties. Suppose if I am trying to gather these values dynamically from properties file, then I can configure driver manager data source one time and I can get values to these properties dynamically from property file or not. That time I just need to work with only one driver. Taking my point, guys. So shall I go for improvisation? Improvisation of this mini project involving properties file to get JDBC properties. Number 1. Number 2. Okay, choosing the DAO dynamically at runtime. Choosing the DAO dynamically at runtime. These 2 improvisations I want to do. Are you ready for improvisation, boss? Are you ready for improvisation? Yes. Okay. So to do that improvisation, first of all, what should I do, guys? I have to take one properties file. So to take a property file, I need to take a package or not. com.nt.commons. com.nt.commons. Super boss. Okay. Here I am going to take a file. Okay. Here I am taking property file name as what? JDBC.properties. What dot properties, guys? JDBC.properties. Super boss. Yes, in this JDBC.properties was JDBC.driver. Oracle.jdbc.driver. driver. JDBC.url. JDBC colon Oracle colon thin @localhost colon 1521 colon XE. Okay. db.user system db.password manager. db.user system db.password manager. Okay, that's cool, guys. Now come to configuration file, boss. Configuration file. Here I will just take only one thing, drds. I'm just taking only one thing. What is that, guys? drds. Okay, super. Now listen carefully. Here I will, first of all, let me configure properties file, boss. Configure properties file. Yeah, order is not important. Any order you can write these tags. Property hyphen placeholder. Tell me, guys, location is equal to com/nt/commons/info.properties. Info data JDBC data. I think JDBC data. Okay, cool, guys. Now tell me here, driver a class name. I have to specify placeholder there or not there. Dollar open flower bracket. What is that? JDBC.driver. Come on, my dears. URL. Come on. JDBC.url. Super. Username dollar JD, not JDBC, db.user. Come on, placeholders I'm placing here. Dollar db.password. Super. Are you listening now, statement boss? Come on. Okay. So now come to this boss. Now come to DAOs boss, both DAOs. Now tell me guys, right now how many data sources are there? Only one is there. When only one is there, do I need to write @qualifier? Not required. Go to Oracle one also. How many data sources are there? Only one is there. Do I need to write @qualifier, guys? Not required. Super. Okay, guys. With this data source part 2, DAO injection is over. Tell me, tomorrow if I want to work with MySQL, if I change here, that is sufficient, na boss? If I change here, that is sufficient. But I have to change my DAO to service class. Don't forget that. If I change these properties, not sufficient. I have to change my DAO to service class also, right? While working with Oracle DAO, I have to inject to service. But I don't want to touch source code of service class as part of that improvisation. Remember that? Then we have to bring alias name into picture or not. So now what should I do? Comment this. Here what should I write? @qualifier. @qualifier. Here I will take alias name as DAO. I will take alias name as what? DAO. And I will try to put same alias name over here. Come on. Don't forget the basics. We discussed all this stuff. Alias name to DAO. Now tell me here, alias tag, guys. What is the alias name? DAO I will take as alias name. Okay, but here which DAO? First I want to work with Oracle. So Oracle DAO bean ID is what, guys? Oracle DAO bean ID is what, guys? Customer DAO. Come on, guys. Here is my customer DAO. Remember this point? Customer DAO. Customer DAO. Now listen, what should I do? Now let me run this application. So when I run this application, now it will insert record in Oracle MySQL. Now it will insert record in Oracle MySQL. Yes, definitely Oracle boss. Okay. Let me run this application. Don't relax. I'm going to do 1-2 improvisation on the top of it also. Okay. Enter customer name. Okay. Gianni. Address. Principal amount 20,000. Rate of interest 2. Months 10. Right, guys. Gianni record is inserted here or not? Gianni record is inserted. Super. Okay. No, I want to work with MySQL. I'm not touching Java code. Are you seeing this? Okay. Here, what should I do? Cust MySQL DAO. This is one thing. Change number 1. Cust MySQL DAO. And moreover, in the properties file, what should I do? In the properties file, what should I do? I should write MySQL related properties or not? I should write MySQL related properties or not? Come on, guys. What is MySQL related properties? com slash mysql slash cj slash jdbc driver. What is the URL? Any idea about URL? mysql colon 3/s ntsp. I think anyone remember logical database name, boss? Anyone remember logical DB? Anyone remember logical DB of MySQL? No problem. I will collect from here. Application context.xml. Yes, this one is the logical DB. This one is the logical DB. Okay, boss. Super. What is the username, guys? Root. What is the password, guys? Root. Done, boss. Now let's run the application now. Now it will connect to MySQL or not? Lokesh, Hyderabad, principal amount 20,000, rate of interest 10 months. Yes, now it is inserting to MySQL or not? Okay, boss. Now I want to go to Oracle, boss. See, guys, when I want to go to Oracle, hash Gupta, I think you missed some classes. First, recollect the classes. What should I do, Gupta? Did you attend other day's class where I introduced alias tag? First, attend classes, Gupta, before asking questions. Dirty fellow. If you don't use alias name, I have to modify service class code directly. I don't want to touch service class code. That's the reason alias name is given into picture. I hope everyone connected that. Come on, guys. 45 minutes we spent, right? Recollect. 45 minutes we spent on that day. We checked all permutation and combinations. We checked all permutation and combination. At the end, we stick to alias name. Remember that? The same concept now, boss. But I have one problem with that concept. What is that, you know? Whenever I want to move to Oracle to MySQL to Oracle, I am forced to do modification in two places. Number one, properties file. Come on, guys. Number two, XML file, right? If I can do both works from property file, I'll be happy or not? If I can do both works from property file, I'll be more happy or not? See, to choose the DAO, I am using XML file. To change JDBC properties, I am using properties file. But if I can choose DAO also from properties file, it would be really nice or not? It would be really nice or not? Come on, guys. Yes. Today I'm going to do that improvisation. Please focus. Today I'm going to do that improvisation. Please focus. Tell me, guys, what is this? Choose.dao. Something. Choose.dao. Or dao.type. Something, some key of my choice, right? dao.dao. Now you observe here. Cust vara dao. I type it like this. Cust vara dao. Otherwise, if you are not liking this, dao.type you are not liking. Okay. Choose.dao. Something, some key, boss. Some key. But this is the bean idea of the DAO class. Okay, now come here. Don't hard code here. Don't hard code bean ID there. You try to get the bean ID from the property file using placeholder. Array, bean ID itself I am collecting from properties file. Choose this. Choose dot DAO. Choose dot DAO. Come on. Choose dot DAO. Now tell me what happens, boss. Now tell me what happens, boss. If choose dot DAO key is Kastvara DAO, it will become Kastvara DAO. So because of that, what happens, guys? Because of that, what happens? My service class will be injected with Oracle DAO or not? No, I want to work with MySQL. So what should I do? I remove this one. Here I will write what? MySQL DAO. Tell me what happens. What happens? This value now comes here. This value now comes here. So this value comes here means indirectly I am interested to work with what, guys? MySQL DAO. So now my service will be injected with what, guys? MySQL. Come on. MySQL DAO. Now tell me, whenever I want to change from one database to another database, do I need to touch XML now or only property file is sufficient? Do I need to touch XML and property file or only property file is sufficient? I think this is also another good improvisation or not. This is also another good improvisation or not. Come on, guys. So shall I test it now? Yes, boss. Now tell me. Right now, what is the one I have chosen? MySQL one. Let me confirm whether it is inserting record into MySQL or not. Okay, Karan is okay. Okay. Anil, address, principal amount, rate of interest, enter time 10 months. Yes, we are getting success means what, guys? Definitely it is inserting into MySQL. Okay. Now I want to change to Oracle, boss. When you want to change to Oracle, come on. What should I do? Comment this stuff. Again, on this stuff. And choose DAO. Instead of what? Oracle DAO. You try to work with what? Sorry. Instead of MySQL DAO, you try to work with what? Oracle DAO. Kastvara DAO. You try to work with what? Kastvara DAO. Okay. Reshmi, same modification you want to do from XML. Already in the previous example, we are doing that only, na? Reshmi, before you adding properties file, by keeping both data sources in what? XML. Already we are achieving through XML, boss. Real-time DI test. With XML already there, that flexibility. Next one. Ramana. Address. Principal amount 20,000. Okay. Rate of interest 2. Time 10 months. Yes, guys. Now you observe. Refresh. Refresh. Ramana record has come or not? Ramana record has come or not? I think now your knowledge of annotation driven configuration has become more complete or not after linking to the project, boss. Yeah, this is how real-time people uses annotation. At the rate component very less, at the rate repository, at the rate service, at the rate controller will be used a lot. Why? Because in real time, all projects are layered applications only. Are you understanding my point? Okay, after improvisation, do I need to do any modification in XML file, guys? After improvisation, do I need to do any modification in XML file to move from MySQL to Oracle, Oracle to MySQL? I think we have used alias tag and placeholder in a better manner or not. The people who already know Spring also should feel, I don't know all these things. I hope I touched all these angles in a perfect manner with respect to project angle. See, what is the beauty of our learning? We are not only learning concept, we are linking them to projects. We are linking them to projects. Whatever we learned yesterday till yesterday, today I have applied in the project. I hope you realized it and noticed that, boss. Yes, guys. Refer the following application for annotation configuration driven mini project. Okay, guys. Anil's fine. I should murder you. How placeholders works internally? Mr. Anil Swain, first attend classes regularly. You will be knowing, guys. Placeholders will be working. Right, I'll share the project. Anil Swain, please refer old classes once. In XML, I have introduced placeholders. Please go and study those points once. There I already discussed how placeholders will work. Very simple. When in-memory metadata is created, okay, when in-memory metadata is created, all placeholders will be replaced with the values that are collected from either property file or system property or environment variable. So that's the reason, as part of pre-instantiation, okay, placeholders will not be injected. Placeholder gathered real values will be injected. I hope you remember, boss. First, loading of XML, checking well formed or not, valid or not. Then it prepares in-memory metadata. Before pre-instantiation of singleton scope beans, the context colon placeholder tag checks, are there any placeholders in the proper XML file? Yes, there. Okay. Yes, there. Now it locates the property file, system properties, environment variable, gets the values into environment object. From environment object, it will put them into what? It will put them into what? In-memory metadata of XML file. Okay, that's the reason, as part of pre-instantiation, real values will be injected. I hope at least now you connected, Anil. These points we discussed. Yes, boss. Okay, I'll give directory structure with all this stuff. Controller, DAO, this one, service, test, VO, dependencies not required, pom.xml not required. I'm not giving the code, guys. I'm just giving this directory structure and I'll share the project with you. Don't worry. Hey, this is 10th project. Who needs? We need 18th project now, boss. Yes. We need 18th project. Let me give 18th project only. DTO, VO, right. Mr. Patil, if you want to connect to two databases, inject two data sources. I think you asked 10 times, my answer is same. Rudragowda, if you want to talk with the two databases at a time, you inject two data sources, boss. Every time you ask same question, every time I'll give same answer, but you never implement. Rudragowda, try to do some implementations also. Asking same question again and again is meaningless, right? Guys, this guy asked me a question, How to connect to two databases at a time? How to connect to two databases at a time? Take two data sources. That's it. Three databases, three data sources you have to take. Try to ask some question to improve your learning process, boss. Yes, I'll keep this project in the Git and I'll share the project. Don't worry. Share project, done, finish. I think yesterday's code also not shared. Team commit. Team commit. Yes, guys. What is this real-time DI? Real-time DI annotations. Okay, guys. Yes, I'm committing and sharing, boss. Fine. Say push. Right. Okay. Tomorrow when we meet, I'm going to discuss Spring Bean life cycle, boss. Tomorrow when we meet, when I'm going to discuss Spring Bean life cycle. Is that clear, boss? Right. Rudragaroda Pratil, talk to admin. Talk to admin, he can join. Rajesh Magar, in 100% code-driven programming, in Spring Boot programming, we are going to avoid XML completely. Okay, guys. Any design pattern batch, still not planned. Once planned, I will start. Spring Boot on May 17th, not May 17th, but next week, Friday onwards. Next week, Friday onwards. Right. Hibernate link. Tomorrow I will share Hibernate link. Hibernate Monday 9 o'clock. Hibernate not changed, guys. Monday onwards 9 o'clock. Vihan Roy, you have to import STS plugin properly. Right now, web service batch is not there, but as part of microservices, I will cover Spring REST. Fee for Hibernate, I think 2,500 or 3,000. Just find out with admin. Right. STS plugin is installed still. I think you have installed 2 versions of STS. Uninstall fourth version and keep third version. Yes, Akshay boy, this Sunday will be having regular class. Hibernate batch in the evening hours takes time, but as of now, 9 o'clock is there. Thank you, Amit, for liking lecture. Ashish, if you know JUnit, you can write test cases. That's your patience. Right, guys. Yes. Yes, those who are looking for Hibernate, guys. Rahul, collect Git URL from admin person. Okay. Subodh, just keep third version of STS plugin, remaining thing you remove. Right, boss. Nitin Patil, this Sunday regular spring class will be there. No tool class, regular spring class will be there. Thank you, guys. Have a nice time.